Welcome. This is a Component.Studio 2 live stream. We're doing a project live stream with John. He's going to show off what he's got going on, and we're going to ask some questions. And if anybody pops into the chat, we will also answer those live. So, John, why don't you tell us about you and your project?
Yeah, hi. I'm John. I'm out of Chicago. I've been all around, playing games since who knows how young. But regular Gen Cons, regular all kinds of different kind of board game events when I'm able to make them. Did a lot of card game playing and different competitive scenes. So yeah, that's me. The game that I have been mulling over for a couple of years now and kind of starting to work on. I'm a big fan of cooperative card games, and Arkham Horror is a great example of one of those that I really fell in love with when it came out. And just kind of my own side project during COVID, I was like, well, can I design something? Could I step away from being the player after years and years and years, and just what if I put my mind to it? What could I come up with?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge fan of Westerns. So I like that's a setting that I want to explore. What are things that can be done differently in that? So I have been working on this game, which as of right now I've just been calling Tall Tales.
Okay.
And yeah, have been taking advantage of Component.Studio to make my life easier for design and pushing to Tabletop Simulator to actually put to use.
Awesome. So, what do you want to show, or what do you want to ask, or take it away to show us what you want to talk about?
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been really curious about, I'm going to start with questions.
Okay.
Is finding ways, if it's even possible, using your data sets to actually imprint images inside of text. So I know inside of your data sets, let's just grab one at random here. If it's going to work. That's also design. That doesn't help me. All right, let's try that again. So inside your data sets, when you have usually your columns, you have to delineate them between usually text, image. I think there's a couple others, but those are really the only two I've ever used. So you might have, you can see like I've got suits for like poker value suits is a big part of this.
Sure.
But I've been wondering if there are ways to essentially take a like an image, like a poker value, and actually place it, let's say, like in line with card text.
Oh yeah. Easy. Do you want to do that on one of your cards, and just so you can see how it goes?
Sure. Let's. Do I have a random one that I could just make my life easy with? Should know my own stuff. Sure don't. Okay, actually, no, I do know one. Let's just change the data set. Perfect. We'll use this one. So let's say this one right here, underneath it, let's say I wanted that. That is not going to do what I want you to do because I need to do.
Hit the three dots menu if you want to use multi-lines in there.
Thank you. Yep. I'm so used to doing it in a Google Sheet and moving it over.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to put something like some images beneath that text? Is that the idea?
So yeah, let's say I wanted. Essentially, what I would love is, like I said, the poker symbol. So in this case, I would love to take one of the clubs, a club image, which you can see I've already got downloaded in there, and then be able to put text directly after it, and preferably be formatted in the same text size.
Yeah, that's easy. Okay, so let's actually click on the image system up at the top. There's a button for images in your top menu bar, and then go to your. I think, do you have icons or anything? Do you already have there you go, those.
Yeah, we got them right here.
Yep. So there's a little button with 4 icons on it. If you click that, so it turns green on each of these 4, that would be great. The 4th one in. From the left. That
one right here. Usable.
Yep. Usable is icon.
That is a literal thing. Okay.
Yep. So turn that on for all 4 of these images, if you would.
Yeah, make my life easier for future. Yep.
Okay. And then go ahead and close that. And then let's go back into your text area in the 3 dots menu. And just so you don't have to memorize syntax, if you go onto the right or go down to the bottom there, it says icons. There's a shortcut called icons. If you click on that, go ahead and click
Oh.
one of the things, whatever you might want. There you go. And then paste that into your text. There you go. And so what we've done is when we click those buttons before, we turned that image into a style, just like from the normal styles menu, like you would with text, right? We turned it into a style, and so it will literally inline that image directly into the style now. And it can also be formatted with styles, so you can actually if you want, you can even increase the size of it or that sort of thing by using styles.
So when you put it in like this, essentially like an HTML tag, it looks like, does it automatically adhere to the font size?
It does.
That has been preset inside of design?
That's right, yeah. So what it does by default is it's 80% the size of the text. And if you go into the designer, I'll show you how you can modify that.
Yep, pulling it up. Yeah, oh, it's tiny.
Okay, so that might be too small. And again, you can modify it via style sheets, or if you go into the text layer that is displaying that, if you would. Okay, and then go down to text formatting. There's a field called icon scale, and you see it says 80%. It's close to the bottom of that text formatting area. There you go. It's 80% by default. You could set it to 100% if you like. You could set it even higher if you like. Depends on how big you want it to be, right? It can get crazy. Now, does your icon have a lot of white space in it?
It looks like, I mean, from this image, it sure looks that way.
It does, yeah. It looks like that to me, too. Doesn't have a lot of white space, but it does have some, it looks like. So that's part of the problem, is that you have some white space in there. The other part of the problem is that you can align the image to be centered using a style tag. So why don't we do that quick, and I'll stay in the designer actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then open up styles. It's at the top. Yep. The A button. There you go. Let's create a style called icon. Just hit the name button there and change it to icon, and then let's go into, I can't remember what it's under. It's either under font or under advanced. There's an alignment option. I think it's under advanced. Adjust baseline, offset, vertical align. There we go. Set the vertical align to be like middle, or maybe I can't remember if it needs to be middle or bottom. We'll try it out. Anyway, close this out then, and then let's wrap your icon. Go back into your text box. Why don't we edit it right in the designer actually? That way we don't have to keep reloading the data. So if you hit the text is up at the top middle of your screen, there is a button to actually edit the dataset live. Top middle of your screen, not in here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Top middle of my screen.
There you go. See, we can edit the text right here. Now hit the 3 dots on the ability. Good. And
that was there.
What, you didn't know that was there?
No, that's super helpful.
Yeah, you don't have to keep going back and forth between data sets. So if we wrap clubs with your new icon style, and you can grab that out of the styles shortcut down below. There you go. You can just paste that right in there, and then take the last half of it, or yeah, there you go. Boom. So we can do some formatting with that. So go ahead and click out of there and see how the icon moved down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can do that sort of stuff with styles. You can use styles to format your icons in various ways. And so that's quite helpful, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Okay. So What else would you like to talk about? Did that cover the one? This item. Are we
This
done with this
particular
item?
one, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that was it. That nails it.
Okay.
I would have had more questions about positioning correctly, and that you nailed that too. So
Cool.
that's exactly what I was looking for.
Okay. So what's next on your list?
So my a question with Component.Studio, and it just came across me recently. We were testing my version of the game on TCS, and we loaded it up, and everything was fine. And when I had other players join my game, I was surprised for them to say that every single card was blank. And what I realized, and I didn't know this at the time, but I found it later on, was that the exports have basically expiration dates.
Yes.
Under the archives. So basically every piece of information that I was using previously disappeared because I was copying the URLs.
Yep. And that's what you should be. You should be copying the URLs, but you want to set your expiration date to forever, basically.
Okay, so that is actually something that can. Oh, hey, there's a big button right there. It says expiration date.
Yep.
Sometimes you just need someone to tell you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And then,
is there a place that did you have to set each one individually, or is there something you can do for your account specifically?
You have to set each archive individually, but I would recommend just reusing the same archive. So if you click edit on one of those archives,
sure, great one.
Yeah, and then you would set the expiration date on that particular archive to sometime way in the future. If you set it to years and years in the future.
2073.
There you go.
If I make that long, then I did pretty well.
Right. So now Component.Studio isn't going to delete that until 2073, right? So you're good there.
Sorry for your data fare.
Yep. And then and you can change the name of it too to just be actions or whatever. Like sure, by default, it puts that whole in there. But then the cool thing is when you go to export the next time. In fact, why don't you change it to actions just so we know what it is? Or something, or for actions forever, or whatever you want to call it. I don't
Sure. Actions test.
All right, cool. So then let's actually go start the export process. We're not actually going to do the export. I just want to show you what this looks like in the designer. So we'll go up to the download icon and hit export. And then go to the archive tab in here. And instead of create new archive, select an archive. We're going to overwrite an archive at the top.
Oh, okay.
And now you can say actions. And now it's just going to export everything directly into that archive. And thus it will maintain that date still.
That's phenomenal.
It also means that all of your URLs will still be the same so that, you don't have to update anything in Tabletop Simulator. At least for anything that hasn't changed its name. If it's got a new name, obviously.
Sure, it won't know then at that point. Yeah.
Right, yeah. But
okay, that's also huge and solves that was also a huge problem that arose to me for a while. So awesome. when you do export something like this, though, like let's say I'm doing something brand new, right? Mm-hmm. I'm doing, Actions 2.0, and I want it to be totally fresh.
Yep.
And I noticed for the first time, it looked like.
Yeah, go ahead and set it back. Go back in there.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Oh, okay. And export and set it back to create new. Yeah, and you can set a new date and everything.
Okay, perfect. So you can do it on the actual export process.
Yep. Yeah.
Perfect.
Most people just kind of overlook this. It's one of those things they don't care about the archive. But if you're a Tabletop Simulator user, you care about the archive.
Correct. I didn't care about it until it did me wrong. So that's usually how that works, right?
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Thank you for answering all of that question.
Yeah.
I guess I said I'm just going to go down my list. Question number 2, and I think I know the answer to this question. Is there a way when you import a file? So I import my files as CSV files into the data set.
Uh-huh. Is
there a way for the data set to not automatically alphabetize them by
name? No, they're alphabetized, but that's actually not part of the import process. That's actually part of the display process. But The name, it's alphabetized by name to start with.
Is there a way to change that or no?
No, it's again, it's just how it displays it. Like you can at the top, you can change it to be alphabetized, or not alphabetized, but sorted by whatever mechanism you want. So if you clicked on value, you could get sorted by value or whatever.
Is that
just hit the word value at the top,
and then you can.
And then it's sorted by value, and if you hit it again, it'll sort reverse. Or if you wanted it sorted by trait, you can just hit trait.
Gotcha. But if you sort it, so let's say I do sort it by value, right? If I was then to pull this up in design, would it actually be sorted by value, or would it go back to being sorted by name?
It's always sorted by name in the designer.
Okay.
Yeah. There is an idea out there for, well, no, it's not for the designer. There's an idea in the idea system. Are you familiar with the idea system, first of all?
A little bit.
Okay, so it's a place where you can go and submit ideas for things you'd like Component.Studio to do that it doesn't do currently, right? Anyway, there's an idea in there not quite like yours, I don't think, but it's close. Somebody wanted, I think it was for a print and play export. They wanted to be able to export in a specific order or something. I don't know exactly what the value of that it would be, but that was the request. So can you tell me a little more? Because like this streaming process is just as much about me learning as it is about you, actually.
Yes.
So I want to know, why would you want to have the designer sorted in something other than alphabetically ordered?
Absolutely. So inside of this game, kind of like most like role-playing settings, right? The characters will have different classes that are available to them. So for me, when like this is my data or my sheet, under class, it's defined by a color. It's beneficial to me as a user to be able to group all of these essentially by the appropriate class order. Now, what you can still kind of do, now that with the organization, you can essentially alphabetize by class, which would at least group them together, which would be helpful. But when exporting it out like that, they're kind of all slapped together in that order of name. So when I have to then go into the deck, I have to basically pull out each individual card to put them in the appropriate class pile that I want. And that's like the big benefit for me in my instance.
I see. Okay. Yeah, there's not, I'm trying to think, there's definitely no way to do that now. So I would definitely submit an idea and explain what you just explained as a reminder to me and Chevy when we're looking at it.
I mean, does that make sense at least, I guess? Like, hopefully I explain it well.
It does make sense. Whether or not we can do it, I mean, anything is possible, right? I don't know how easy it is to do what you're talking about.
Oh, of course.
Because
it's a situation where it's like, this is far from like, oh my God, I need this. And I'm like, if there's a way, this would be easier.
Yeah, the thing that screws it up a little bit is, are you familiar with, we have a system called enumerations. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so the row order here is not really maintained when it creates enumerations, because, and behind the scenes, everything is an enumeration, because it's literally creating new rows of data. So they would have to be created in a particular order. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud here. So you're a software developer, you get it. But
yeah, anyway. I do see the problem actually.
Yeah. So I will give it some thought. But definitely submit an idea for that. And I get why you want to do that. So then you would want it not just in the designer, but also in the exports.
I mean, it would be great, but to be honest, like you just showed me with the actual data set itself. With the exports. I'm sorry. To be honest, the exports would be more beneficial to me than the actual designer. Truthfully. Okay. Just being able to push it out in, I guess the cleanest way in my brain would be being able to export things kind of like you have in the data set, choosing the sort order from maybe a specific thing. So maybe, like just as an example, If I could sort the export by class,
Right.
sure, they wouldn't be alphabetical, whatever. That doesn't really matter as much, but they would at least be clumped together.
Right.
Which means that I can just pull and move.
So basically, you want a way to be able to sort the enumerations by a field. You pick a field and then sort by that field.
Yep. Yeah. To sum it up, the easiest. That probably would make my life.
Okay.
It'd be nice.
All right. Well, I think we can do that. Yeah. It wouldn't. Yeah. In fact, I know for sure we can do that. Sorry for the pauses. I'm just thinking through.
No, I get it. I've been there where you're like, wait, but I could do this. But
yeah.
No, what
anyway, so let's
six things on the spot.
Right. So I'm gonna, instead of thinking about it right now, I'm just gonna put a pin in it, and we will add that feature in the future. But yes, do add that idea, and then that'll help me trigger. I will create a ticket for actually making it, and assign that to Chevy. So with one other thing I should point out that may be useful to you right now. Let's try it. Go in your data set. Go into the data set itself rather than in Component.Studio or in Sheets there. And if you click on enumeration and select your class.
Doesn't even show it.
Oh, is it not a text? It's a color. That's why you can't use class to do it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can't enumerate on colors. I was going to say,
but I mean,
what you could do if it wasn't a color, if it was something else, you could create an enumeration, even though it's only going to be one in each enumeration, and that would at least put the class in the name when you're trying to look through the designer. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
yes,
so it would concatenate the name and the class together, so that you would have that, as a visual of, oh, this guy was this class, because when you have 100 things in your data set, sometimes it's hard to remember which thing is which.
Yeah, as a color, the benefit is because they are color coordinated. I have them in the text box. Actually, will change the color based upon what I want. So it's, at least when I'm in design, it is immediately noticeable. Like I know.
Yeah.
Right away.
All right. Never mind then. Forget that I was suggesting.
No, that's a great idea though. But luckily I jury rigged it, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, that's a great use of the color field. So, all right. What's next on your list?
Those were a lot of the big majority ones. I feel like there was one more and I'm not remembering what it was. Well, I think you've already answered it, but with your previous one, the other one I had written down was with the image again, basically. So let's actually change design. Excuse me. Let's go to locations. And I think what you showed me with that style tag will probably resolve this as well. When you, let me see here. Hang on a second. Okay, yeah. So when you kind of look at this, you can kind of just look and see that the diamonds are offsetted from the box that they're supposed to be in. Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, I want to say I had already programmed them to be somewhat centered on that space.
Did you use the center on function?
I think that I did. Let's do it right now to find out.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember which box is which.
Well, you're in the evade box right now, it looks like.
Yeah, so. Okay, great. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. Yeah, okay. That is what I used. Yeah, and you can see that it's still not quite right. Now, I'm assuming, to be honest, that it's probably my image.
I was going to say, the next thing I would check is to make sure that your image is actually centered, and it's not.
And it's not. So, okay. So, never mind.
Yep. So
that one is.
Yep.
Get a better image as
well. The answer is get a better image.
Yes. Okay. I wasn't, I didn't take the time to really double check that, but that was that.
Yep.
The last one that I have, and I think once again your statement answered it, was using style tags to color text.
Yes.
So in this particular example, I guess I'm even on the right thing. It's nice. Let's go to, it's under text box traits. Yes. So we'll use this row trait right here. Oh wait, no. Let's use the ways you just taught me. So inside here, trait is a great example. So the italicized ones, I would like to have each of them be a different color.
Okay.
As well as italicized.
Yep.
So I'm kind of guessing that you're probably going to show me and tell me that there is probably a way in styles to probably do that.
Absolutely. Let's go do it.
Yep.
So if you click on the A button, you'll have to get out of here and then click on the A button in the top menu, which is your styles menu. And then we can just create a color, really. So create a new style and call it whatever the color name is.
For my own naming structure, district green. Pretty sure I spelled district wrong, but that's okay.
Fair enough. And then go into the font part there.
Okay.
And then there is a color picker. It is the very bottom there. And you can either use the color picker or type in a color.
And there's a hex value.
Yeah. Okay.
Just grab a random green for now.
All right. And then you can go, now that we've defined this, you can go back into your row data at the top menu and edit your ability, and then use the style picker to pick your new color, district green. And again, you'll paste that in and you'll just have to move, there you go, like that. Yep.
Okay. I guess in theory, yes, all correct. It should do it. And there it is.
Yep.
Excellent.
So pretty straightforward. Yeah. And you can do all kinds of funky things with styles once you start playing around with them. So you being a software developer, I will mention a keyword that will immediately ring home to you: inheritance.
Oh, sure.
Styles are full. They have a full actual multi-inheritance model. So,
okay, excellent. Yeah, because that's, I know the big change when you guys went from 1 to 2, I noticed, is style tags being very similar to HTML style tags that you would kind of see out there. I mean, not one for one, of course, but it looked familiar.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's not HTML, but we went that way to kind of, exactly, make it look a little familiar for people that are familiar with that. So, okay. Any other things that you would like to do?
No, this was a great help, and at least for now, until inevitably another question comes up at some point that I put in the chat. This was great and very helpful.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you learned something, and tune in for the next one. Have a good night.